Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're talking about the new waterproof liners from Chanel. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. As many of you know, I now have an online beauty consulting service, which is where you get to talk to me one-on-one through video chat. And you can pick my brain about any beauty concerns you have. A lot of people talk about their current collection and don't necessarily want to add any new products, but want some advice on how to use up what they already own. So to make the appointment, click the link in the description box down below. Okay, so Chanel has recently reformulated their waterproof liner collection. This is the Stylo Yeux. This is just the waterproof line. They have done a reformulation as well as adding new shades. So for today's video, I want to talk about the colors that I picked up, do some swatches. I want to do some comparisons with colors that I think might be in the same family, and then also offer you some eyeshadow pairings with some of these liners here. So the Stylo Yeux Waterproof Long-Lasting Liners, they retail at 42 Canadian plus tax. I don't think that there was a price increase. I mean, there always is a price increase with Chanel, but I think that this is the standard price. There are 7 shades that are part of the regular lineup. So the first one being number 10, Ebene, that's just like a black. Then we have number 20, Espresso, number 30, Marine. These are shades that I'm certain a lot of you are familiar with. We also have 88, Noir Intense, which is my personal favorite black liner. We have number 928, Eros, that beautiful reddish one. And then number 83, Cassis. These are the classic standard Chanel liners. So now they have a new formula, but we also have an additional 7 new colors in this new formula. We have number 36, Prune Intense, number 38, Bleu Métal, number 42, Gris Graphite, number 46, Vert Émeraude, number 48, Or Antique, number 54, Rose Cuivré, and number 56, Kaki Metal. So I did not pick up all 7 of these new shades right away. I picked up 4 of these new colors. Something to add is that these 7 new colors that I mentioned, they are not limited edition. These are just 7 new colors to enjoy, and you do get a nice combination of matte or more shimmer finish liners. All right, let's talk about the liners that I actually picked up. So the first one is number 36, Prune Intense. And I am in fact wearing this today. I am wearing this on the bottom lash line here. I put some on the top waterline, and then I also put a little bit on the top line as well. Number 36 is matte, and it gives you dark plummy, a hint of purple, but it's not too cool tone. It's almost a slightly warm, deep, plummy, slightly eggplant shade. We've definitely seen similar shades like this in the Chanel universe recently, but this one here is a very pretty color, and I think what's lovely is that it has a bit of warmth to it. It's not too cool, it's not going to be too dark, and you could definitely wear this a bit lighter. I did go and like intensify the color here, but you could make it a bit lighter if you wanted to. Next up is number 42, Gris Graphite. This one here is a more shimmery, sparkly shade. This is beautiful to put on the bottom waterline. This is also a beautiful color to add if you're using a smoky eye, those very traditional black gray colors, and it definitely is very beautiful, very sparkly. It makes me think of like a little bit of a disco ball, but that's kind of what I love about it. It's very beautiful. You could wear this lightly in the waterline, or you could intensify it the way that I did right here. These liners are waterproof and they don't really move once you place them, so you could in fact do a smoky eye with these liners here. Just like put it everywhere, blur it out, maybe add a little bit of powder. It's a really gorgeous shade. I sort of went for an eclectic taste in eyeliners today. You'll see I didn't get a specific color story. I just went for colors that called my heart. Next we have number 48, Or Antique, and this is similar in formula to the gray liner. So something light, a little bit satiny, a little bit sparkly, perfect for the waterline. It just gives you that little boost of glow. Clearly a very different color story, so I went for something very cool and then also something very warm. It's just a really beautiful yellow antique gold color. And then the last one here is number 46, which is Vert Emeraude. This is a beautiful, dark, foresty emerald green. I think the name is very fitting for this shade here. And this one here is a beautiful mixture of not quite matte, but also less intense and less sparkly than the gray and the gold. Number 46 is not matte whatsoever, but it's one of those shades from Chanel that's a little bit dark, but has like a little bit of a fleck to it. So it's not going to be too intense. It's going to have a little bit of lift and glow to it. It's a really beautiful formulation. I like when Chanel does these liners that are dark, but not a stark matte or a stark dark color. They kind of have a little bit of mystery to them. So if you like the green liners, this new one, 46, is definitely for you. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some possible comparisons. So I don't have eyeliner comparisons for every single new eyeliner color here because some of these are very unique in themselves and I don't think that there is anything too familiar, but some of these are very reminiscent of shades we've seen in the past. So the first new shade to compare is number 36, Prune Intense. So this is part of that like deep, plummy, eggplanty color we've seen very frequently in Chanel recently. So the first swatch here, this is Eros. Now Eros is definitely a little bit redder with a nice gold little shift in it. Eros is also warmer and a little bit lighter, but I think if you went a little bit lighter handed with Prune Intense, you might get something similar to it as well. Then in the center here, we have the shade called Charm, which is certainly more plummy. This is that cool toned, almost black purple that we've seen more of frequently with Chanel. And I like number 36 in comparison because it has that warmth to it. And when you compare Charm to number 36, you can see a stark difference. And the last one here is actually Purple Shock, which looks almost black in comparison here. We can see that Purple Shock has some nice little fleck and shift in it, but it doesn't even look that close to it. You know, I thought Purple and Prune might be distant cousins, but they don't even look like they're in the same family here. Okay, next up for comparisons is number 46, which is the Vert Emeraude shade, so that beautiful emerald green. Now, the color that I'm comparing here is called Legendary Green. This is a beautiful shade. I think this shade called Celadon would also be similar to this. I used to have Celadon, but I don't have it anymore. I think that these are comparable. But as you can see, Vert Emeraude is lighter. It has more of that gold shift to it, whereas Legendary Green is matte and I think more cool toned as well, and just deeper and darker. And it's important to note that when I was writing down the numbers for the liners, I did go over a few times just to make sure I could get a more intense color payoff. So I think in general, Vert Emeraude is not going to necessarily be the deepest, darkest forest green out there, but if you want something a little bit lighter, this might be for you. Now, as far as these two lighter colors, the gray and the antique gold, I personally don't have liners that I think are similar to these. I think that these are very unique in color. I think they're beautiful. The only one that I could possibly think of is this gold one here. Several years ago, Chanel had a waterproof liner called Érable, which means maple. And it was a beautiful, super light brown with gold, and it was absolutely stunning. It was limited edition, of course, and I didn't get any backups, and I regret it to this day. I think that possibly could be similar to it, but I think that this antique gold is much more yellow based, and I think the maple érable color was more of a soft brown, but that's about it. This beautiful gray color to me is very unique, and yeah. Okay, so moving on, I have some eyeshadow quads here from Chanel that I think would pair very nicely with these new eyeliners that I got. Let's start with number 42. This is the beautiful shimmery gray. So I mentioned earlier a classic smoky eye. If you have the modern glamour eyeshadow palette, I think this would be a really beautiful combination. As you can see, you can go in very dark with the dark matte color here, or you can create something a little bit lighter, a bit more everyday. And with the eyeliner here, what you could do is you could fill in your whole eye as a base with the liner first, maybe smudge it a little bit, and then go over top with possibly some of the lighter colors here from Modern Glamour. I think this would pair beautifully. You could also go in with just the black and just have a black matte smoky eye. Then use the gray liner and just add a little dot of shimmer here. I think that if you have Modern Glamour and if you picked up this gray liner, this is going to work really nicely for you. Moving on to what I'm wearing on my eyes today. So number 36 is Prune Intense, that really beautiful plummy eggplant color, and I think this would go really nicely with the new quad here. This is number 378, Douceur et Sérénité, which is a lovely cool toned purpley palette. There is also a dark gray matte that I haven't actually touched yet. I just go into the lighter colors here. It hits all of my cool toned purple receptors very nicely, and I think that Prune Intense can be worn more intensely, just like really dark. You could do a smoky eye with the liner and this shade here, or you could do what I did today and go in lighter with the softer shades and add a bit of liner for some definition. I think that these two pair really nicely. All right, moving on to number 46, which is our Vert Emeraude liner. I think this would pair beautifully with blurry green. I think this is very self-explanatory. We have our deep forest greens, but we also have some lighter, more antique-y gold shades in this palette here, and I think that this 46 liner is a perfect combination of a forest green with a little bit of a gold shift to it. So I think this would just pair so beautifully, and it's almost a perfect color match for the green shade on the bottom here. And I know that a lot of people already own blurry green because it's been out for a year or two now. So if you just feel like adding one new item to your collection, you could create a whole series of different makeup looks. All right, so to finish off here, we have number 48, the beautiful antique gold yellow based liner. And I would pair this with the new Chanel Les Beige Intense palette here. This Les Beige palette could have some similarities with blurry green. I did in fact do a swatch comparison recently, but it's mostly if you go into this color here. If you were to use the lighter colors, you could definitely hit those golden goddess glowing eyeshadow looks with lots of gold and bronze, and this liner here is definitely quite light. So if you wanted to use some of the lighter shadows in this palette here, I think they could work really nicely. I don't think that this liner here is going to give you a perfect dupe for any of these shadows here, but I think if you're just going along with that vein of like a glowing goddess eyeshadow look, this number 48 would work nicely with the Intense palette. All right, so my final thoughts on these new liners here. So this is a new formula, new formulation. Honestly, if I didn't know any better, I would think that this was literally the exact same. As far as the wear goes on the eye, it feels the exact same. The application, it's just as creamy. I love this waterproof formula. It's my favorite eyeliner formula. I find that it stays in place. It's long wearing. It's also creamy at the same time, so you're not tugging on the eye. And this formula, the new formula, is the exact same in my opinion. When it comes to adding on the waterline, it stays in place, it doesn't transfer, it doesn't flake. I don't know what to tell you. I know that it's technically a new formula, but if you went ahead and just bought a new eyeliner without knowing it's a new formula, I don't think you would tell the difference. Same goes for when I'm swatching. It really just feels the exact same. So I'm not certain what they did to create a new formula. I'm hoping it's better ingredients, better sourced, hopefully better for the environment and all that. But I don't know what they did. And I'm honestly very pleasantly surprised because Chanel is notorious for coming out with new formulas of products we already love. And sometimes it's for the best and sometimes it's not. Like for example, the blushes, the new formula I'm not as much of a fan of. I find that the new formula for the blush is a little bit harder and more red based for some reason. So I am very happy that my beloved eyeliners have stayed the exact same. That being said, there are certain colors that used to exist, like Purple Shock, for example, that I'm not currently seeing on the website. So if you have like older formula eyeliner colors that you really want, I would recommend contacting your local sales associate or beauty advisor immediately, because this new formula is what's at the counter now. So they're not going to get new stock of the old version. So if you have shades, don't wait. And I also imagine that we will continue to see new colors with the new releases for fall, the holidays, etc. There's always a couple new liners, new shades every now and then. So if you have been curious about this new eyeliner formulation, breathe easy, rest assured, it's the same thing. I don't know what they did differently, but in my opinion, they're indistinguishable. If you guys are new to my channel, I hope you take the time to subscribe. That is the best way to encourage me here on my channel. And if you really like me, make sure to give that video a like and feel free to leave a comment as well. So on that note, I think this is all I have for you guys for today. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.